So here's one. Solve each triangle,
Okay.
and this is gonna be like trigonometry kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Uh-huh.
the A equals 5,
Is it A
B,
or angle A?
it's A, like lowercase a, equals 5, lowercase b equals 7, and lowercase c equals 6. We have to solve each triangle.
Okay. Now, when they give you a triangle that only has 3 sides and no angle measurement, there's only one law you can start that thing out with. What is it?
Uh,
You have 2 laws. You have the law of sines and the law of cosines. The law of cosines is only used in 2 situations.
the law of cosine is angle, side angle, right?
No. Law of cosines is used in these 2 situations where you have an angle and 2 adjacent sides, like that,
Mm-hmm.
or 3 sides. And
Okay.
the thing to look for is that you can't use the law of sines, right? In other words,
Mm-mm.
in order to use the law of sines, you've got to be able to relate the sine of an angle to an opposite side. And you cannot do that in either one of these cases. In other words, this case over here, we've got 3 pieces of information, but we don't have an angle and its opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever, they're always going to give you 3 pieces of information, okay, when they
Okay.
say solve these triangles. So if you have one angle and an opposite side, you're going to solve it using the law of sines. If you don't, your first step has to be the law of cosines.
Okay.
So give me the law of cosines. And there's 3 of them, but you can pick any one to solve this problem, because you're basically going to pick one side and figure out the angle that's opposite it. Once you
Okay.
have that, then the rest of the problem will be easy.
Okay. So
Let's label it. Let's see. That is A. B is up here. And that's C. Okay.
it doesn't matter where you angle that or where you label that, right?
Well, kind of does, because we're going to use the law of cosines, and the law of cosines has to do with these 3 sides.
Okay.
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 Now, you can solve for angle A, B, or C first. No preference.
Okay.
You do have to know your law of cosines pretty good. So give me
Mm-hmm.
a law of cosines that works for that triangle.
Uh, Shoot, I don't know a law of cosine that works for that
All right.
triangle.
Here, there's 3 of them. You got to memorize these. They're not going to give them to you.
Right. Oh yeah, a squared equals, and
Now,
then it's gonna be
there is something quite similar between all 3 of them. See if you
okay.
can pick up the pattern. It's the rest of it.
Okay. So is it gonna just be hello?
Yeah?
Up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if it's updating it. Did you do b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine
No.
a?
The pattern is that those 2 letters are the same as those 2 letters. So the second one is 2AC, and this angle is the same as that letter, only it's
B.
capital. It's capital B.
Okay.
Okay?
So then it's
Remember little letters are side lengths, angles are big letters.
mm-hmm.
And the third one, give it to me.
C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c.
Correct. Okay? All 3 of them are really the same.
Mm-hmm.
Notice that in this particular triangle they've given us, I can use any of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what I'm solving for. That's the very first thing I'm solving for. I know what little a is, little b, little c, b, and c for all three triangles. So if
Okay.
I want to solve for that angle, first off, use that formula.
Okay.
Like I said, I could use any of the three. It's just that if I use the middle one, I'm going to be solving for angle B. And if I use the bottom one, I'm going to be solving for angle C. But our goal is to solve for one of these angles. Once we get one of these angles solved for, we'll be in like Flint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, let's use the
So we're doing the
first one.
top one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's cross
So
this one out and this one out. Now just
okay.
plug in everything you see. What's little a?
25.
No, that's
Or
little
are we
a
just are
squared.
we starting at okay, so
Okay,
yep.
what's b squared?
49?
49? Is that what you said?
Yep.
What's c squared?
36.
Minus 2 times 7 times 6 times cosine of angle A. Notice that the only unknown we have in this entire equation is angle A.
The angle. Okay.
Now, when you only have one unknown, you're going to be able to solve it. Let's go through the math
Mm-hmm.
because the math can be somewhat tricky.
Are we just gonna set that equal to 0?
No, it's not at a quadratic. That's what you do to quadratics, but this is
Okay.
not a quadratic.
Okay.
What are we going to do?
So
How do you solve for, first of all, before you can solve for A, you have to solve for cosine of A. So this is what I'm trying to isolate. So get
mm-hmm.
rid of everything else. First of all, add those
Okay.
two together, move it to the
Yeah, so
side, then multiply those three together and divide by that. And that will leave
yeah.
with cosine A only on the right side. So,
Okay.
first step, those two add together to be 85. Now, get rid of that 85.
Sorry, hold on.
Let's do this step by step. Get rid of the 85 first.
So 85 and you subtract that from 25, so that's 25 minus 85.
Equals what?
Negative 60. And
Not
then
60.
that
42
or
times 2 is 84. Minus 84. In other words, that's what that is minus 84.
oh, is that 84? 2 times 7
2
and
times 7
6.
times 6 is 84.
Okay, and then times cosine A.
Okay, next step.
So then we have to divide negative 84 from both sides. So then that's going to
Don't like the way you
be
said
right.
that. What you have to do is divide both sides by negative 84, not from both sides. From
Yeah.
indicates you're going to be doing addition or subtraction. You're not. You're going to be doing division.
Mm-hmm.
So if I divide both sides by negative 84, that's what I get.
Mm-hmm. So then it's going to be negative 60 divided by negative 84
Yeah,
equals
and
cosine.
that becomes positive. Let's do that simplification. So, now how do you solve for angle A? This is the cosine of A.
Uh, Wait, hold on, let me think.
Remember what trig does. Trig uses trig functions to solve. You take a trig function of an angle to get a ratio.
So cosine, so that's opposite over hypotenuse equals angle A, right?
No, the secret here
Or
is that
adjacent.
you take the inverse cosine.
Oh, so that's inverse. Oh, so you do
When you're solving
uh
for angles, you're using inverse trig
cos.
functions.
Okay.
So A is equal to the inverse trig function of that ratio.
So it's gonna be second. So it's gonna be inverse cosine.
Now, go ahead and solve for that. Tell me what angle that is.
I got. Oh wait, am
Make
I
sure
in?
you're in degrees. Make sure you
Yeah.
know you're in degrees as opposed to radians.
Yep, I was in radians. So let me try it again.
Okay. That'll make a big difference. You get really
Yeah.
strange answers if
Yeah,
you're
because
other the wrong thing.
okay, so I got 44.438 degrees.
44. Let's just round it off.
Yeah.
I don't know why they always make these to the thousands places. You're trying
Right.
to illustrate a principle here, not solve a moon project. Seriously. And yet every single trig question does that. Okay.
Okay.
So angle A is 44 degrees. Now
Yes.
we're in like Flint. Once you've used the law of cosines one time, you find out an angle, and now that we have an angle and its opposite side, we can use the law of sines to finish this problem.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me, you can either, we've got 4 out of the 6 things, so we only have to solve for one more angle, either angle B or angle C. Well, tell me what the
Uh,
law of sines says.
let me see. A law of sines. So it's sine.
You got to memorize these, Simon.
Yeah,
You
I'm
don't have
gonna.
to
I'm gonna have
look them
to.
up,
Yeah,
especially for
I'm.
the law of sines. The law of cosines is hard to memorize, but the law of sines is,
Easier.
look at that one time and never forget it again.
Okay, so but the law of sines is what? Sine A over or sine angle A over side A equals sine angle B over sine B, and then equals sine angle C over C.
All right, let's just deal with this one because this will allow us to calculate angle B. Because we know 3 of the 4 things here.
Mm-hmm.
What's the sine of 44 degrees? Well, we just had that. That was,
Wait, we had cos. Wait,
oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, so we need to look that up.
yeah. So
So here,
sine.
let me write it like this. It's the sine of 44 degrees divided by little side A, which is what?
Little side A, which is 5.
Equals the sine of B, which we don't know yet, but we're
Over
going to
7.
figure out, over 7. Now I'm going to go down and we're going to solve that. This equation, I apologize for this. I'm in a program here I cannot erase.
Yeah.
So that's a number. The upper left numerator is a number. That's a number. That's a sine B. That's a 7. So sine B equals 7 times sine of 44 divided by 5, correct?
Yes.
So tell me what that's equal to.
Okay, let me write this down real fast. Try now.
In other words, once you've got the the formulas, it's all algebra after that.
Okay, so 7 sine 44 all over. Wait, let me get these. Let me make sure it's
Yeah, you
correct
get the
parentheses.
parentheses right if you're using a TI-84 or something.
Exactly. Divided by. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Divided by what, 5?
Uh-huh.
I got 0.972.
So you got the sine of B equals 0.972. Tell me what angle B is.
Hold
Remember,
on, now we have to do
solve for
inverse
angles.
sine.
You're always using inverse trig functions to solve for angles, always.
I got 76.4.
Okay.
So B equals 76.
Now, that makes solving for the last angle really easy. We don't have to use the law of sines.
Yeah, it's 70 degrees, right? Because you just add up.
Yeah, these add to 120. No, that would make that 60 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, whenever you have side, 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 like we started out with here, your first step is to use the law of cosines. That gives you one angle. Once you have one angle, now you can use the law of sines to get a second angle. Once you have both angles, now you just use the fact that the total adds to 180 to get the third angle. That's the easiest way to get the third angle. You could also get the third angle using the law of sines, but it's unnecessarily difficult. Don't need that level of difficulty to get that sixth piece of information.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
yeah, I've got to go, but I just want to tell you there's only one other situation where you have to start it out with the law of cosines, and that's this one over here, where you have side, angle, side. So it's side, 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 or side, angle, side. Either of them.
those are the only ones that go in the cosine, law of cosine.
Right, and notice why. We can't do the law of sines here. We don't have an angle and an opposite side. If you don't have an angle and an opposite side, then you can't use the law of sines to start off. The law of sines requires you to have that relationship right there, at least with one of the angles and one of the opposite sides. So you're going to use the law of cosines in that situation. That will tell you this opposite side right there. Once you solve for that opposite side, then you finish the problem using the law of sines, and then the same last step, just subtract from 180. So those are the only two type triangles where you have to start them out with the law of cosines. And any other situation is law of sines the whole way. In other words, there's no other situation where you have to start it out with the law of cosines. Only these two kind of triangles. Side, 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 and side, angle, side.
Okay.
Okay? Simon, I will talk to you next time. I do have slots tomorrow. If you need another session, feel free.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay. Have a good day.